This is Kinghuman. At the tone, leave your name and message. I'll get back to you.
It's Jack. The check is in the mail. Sorry it's 2 years late. Sorry I misfigured my checking account and I'm overdrawn. Sorry I stopped payment on it. So when it comes, tear it up. Sorry.
Okay, what's doing? $126 an hour playing craps right here in a minute. We'll talk about it. Hang on. That's good tea. Okay, what's doing? Some of you guys know me and some of you don't. Those of you that know me know that I go to Vegas once or twice a month and I play baccarat. That's my thing. I love to do it. It's a fun thing for me. Now, I'm in the process of looking for a property in Vegas for a couple of reasons. Mostly it's for tax reasons. But, because, I mean, the state taxes in California are off the hinges. So I could move to Las Vegas and save a lot of money. So why not do it? But it's also kind of a playground for me. Vegas is a playground. So I can live in Vegas. Then I can jump on a plane and go to Maui all the time and lay on the beach. I don't know. Just something I'm considering. But here's what's doing. Those of you that know me know, I used to play craps. To the point where I wrote a book on it. And I played craps for years and I made money at it 4 years. And I know there's going to be a lot of people saying you're full of shit. Well, I'm not. I'm telling you what's what. You know, love it or shove it, believe it or don't, I don't care. But here's the way I approach these things. I am mental. You know, I used to have a huge library on probability of gaming and, you know, the math of gaming. And I would sit there and I would go through these books and I would do analysis till my head was having a thrombo. And I'm looking for any kind of cracks in the algorithms. I'm looking for ways to beat the house edge. I'm looking for, you know, how to apply random chaos theory and skew the, you know, I'm looking at this thing like a puzzle. And I've spent years dissecting these things because I'm not your average idiot that goes to a casino and makes a bet and says, oh, I hope I win, woo! And I don't even know the basic odds of the games that I'm playing. I'm not that idiot. I'm an analytical, mental patient. So what's doing is I had a bunch of people get together and kind of attack me. You know, every year I get a bunch of emails over the course of a year. Kinghuman, you got to give us your crap system. You got to get back into craps. Well, basically back in the day, what I used to do is I used to play the don't pass because that's, to me, made a lot of sense. And basically that's what I talked about in my craps video years ago that I made. And what I used to do that worked for me, the basics, I'm not going to give you the entire system. I have to slap myself every time I say the word system. I don't like that word, method. So one of the basic foundation of my old method was I would go into a casino and I would survey the landscape. I would stand back, cross my arms and look at the craps tables. And there would be several tables that were kind of, you know, nothing much was going on. It wasn't, you know, nothing, no big action. There's one table over there where everybody's screaming and yelling and making a lot of money. And then there's one table at the opposite end of the spectrum, 1 or 2 or 3 tables where everybody's pissed off, they're angry, they're not making any money. Why is that? Because everybody, or 99.999% of idiots out there, play the pass line. Because that's what they've been programmed to do. When they learn craps, they learn better put a chip on the pass line and then back it with a, well, the casino never teaches people to play the don't. Never. So, and that's why when you look at a craps table, you'll see that the pass line bet is that wide and the don't pass line bet is really skinny. They just do it that way. Doesn't mean that one side is better than the other, really. But if you can use your common sense, you know, that table over there, where everybody's screaming and yelling and winning because everybody plays a pass line, that's a hot table. You're not going to get on that table anyway because it's jammed up because some idiot made 5 passes in a row and everybody's going mental. But the other side is easy. You know, this table over here is colder than crap on a cracker. You know, everybody's pissed off. So I would walk up to that table and start betting the don't. And people would look at me like I was a mental patient, but I was making money and they were losing money. They're fighting against that cold table instead of getting on board and making money. Now, of course, that's very simplistic. And of course, I had an algorithm that I applied. It was a wagering situation that I would apply because nothing works 100% of the time. You can go to a cold table and it can turn hot like that. If so, you got to walk away, find another cold table. But anyway, huge digression, but that's a basic philosophy to build a methodology of play upon, especially when it comes to craps, because you can tell just by the way, the demeanor of these people, what kind of table you're walking up to. And take your time before you even make your first bet. Watch, get a reading on it. You know, stand there for 5 minutes, 10 minutes before you even jump in. But, you know, people don't do that. Anyway, okay, so let me get back on track here. Bunch of guys got together and hammered me and challenged me and said, get back on craps. Because we want craps. We don't want baccarat. Baccarat's too expensive for us. We want to play craps. So I thought, okay, well, they got me thinking about it. And then what happened was the other night, I was thinking, because he asked me a question that kind of got my gears turning. He said, one of these guys, they said, Kinghuman, what would happen if you applied your baccarat strategy to craps? Would it work? And I thought, well, craps is binary, you know? Pass, don't pass. Win, lose, 50-50. It's pretty much simple, you know? Baccarat is a little less binary because the banker has a slight edge over the player. So I said, yeah, it should, but you know, I went to sleep that night and I woke up about 3 o'clock because my brain's always churning and I'm always thinking, and I had a little epiphany and I thought, wow, what would happen? I don't know how my brain came up. What would happen if I took that one segment out of my baccarat algorithm and applied it to the framework that I used to use in craps, and then invert it? What would happen? So these guys baited me into this, and now it's in my head. I can't get it out until I do it. So what did I do? I got out my old books and I started a test. And here, I'm telling you, I'm mental. This is how mental I am. 80 hours. This represents an 80-hour test at craps. Actual results. At the end of 80 hours, I produce $126 an hour profit at craps. Just using that little segmented algorithm in a new way at this new game, craps. And here's how I did it. I want to be totally transparent with you guys. I started with this book. This is a system tester book. So what this is, and I've got a million of these books, testers. This is 35,000 actual results at a craps table, not computer generated. Don't ever use a computer test and think that it's valid results. Computers use RNGs, random number generators, and it's a false equivalency. You'll find that you're going to win on a computer and then you go into a real casino and the whole thing falls apart and you can't figure out why. It's because you used a false equivalency. So I start out with a tester like this, and I'll put in a ton of hours. 80 hours to me is nothing to test a system. To me, a system, a method has to hold up in the long term, which means a lot more than 80 hours. So I'll test it first with this book, and you can see how much more I have to go in this book. A lot of hours. If it continues to hold up, then in the book, which again, I don't trust the book either, then I jump on a plane and I go to Vegas. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm goaded into it now. Then I'll have to stand at a craps table, and I'm talking 8 hours a day for at least a week before I'll feel comfortable with this thing holding up. Big if, huge if. This thing could fall apart in a minute. Don't get me started. I'm not excited about this at this point. You know, I'm sure a lot of other people would say, wow, this thing, it's making me $126 an hour, and they're off to the casino. This means nothing to me. However, again, to satisfy these guys that got on my case, and they want me to come through for them on this, if this holds up for at least another 80 hours in the book and makes a minimum $100 an hour, then I'll go to Vegas and I'll test it in the real world. If it holds up in the real world, then I would be willing to teach it to you guys. But I have some caveats. Now, if you're interested in any level, I made a survey. There's a link to it down there. Go fill it out. Because if you're not interested, if you're just giving me lip service on this, I'm done. I'm walking away. I'm not going to spend my time on this. I hate craps. I personally hate craps like poison. I mean, you stand at a table and you wait for a decision, and it's so annoying. And I got my bet down and nothing's happening, and I'm looking around, and then this guy yells in my ear, yeah, right in my freaking ear. And I look down, and he won $5 freaking, and he's sitting there smoking a cigar like he's Diamond Jim Brady, and he's yelling and screaming. I hate it like poison. Freaking craps. So for me to commit to this, I need to know that you guys aren't just giving me lip service on this. Because this represents a big investment of my life, my time. And believe me, I can make a lot of money doing other things. So there it is. I don't know where we are at this point. Go take this survey. You know, we'll see what's going on. But if you want to, here's my tips. If you want to make money, go find cold tables in casinos and play the don't. Because the minute a point is established, the odds are in your favor. Yes, you have to fight that initial come out roll. But the minute any point is established and you're on the don't pass, the odds are in your favor. You always want to be able to put the odds in your favor. Again, you got to fight that first come out roll. So that's my advice. Find a cold table. The minute the table gets hot, run like a scalded dog. The other thing is, if you buy a system on gambling, if you make your own system on gambling, do not test it on a computer. It's a false equivalency. It's bogus. You know, you need something that's real. So buy some testers that have real results, not computer-generated results. And even then, don't trust them. The only thing you can trust is real-world, long-term results in a real casino. Not an online casino. Don't trust those. You know, just real-world casino. That's it. So we'll see if this holds up in the long term, and I have something that's teachable. Is the last thing I want to do is get somebody involved in something where they lose money, you know, at gambling, and they can't afford to lose money at gambling, you know. So remember, this is gambling, guys. I've got some guys that are gamblers that are really on my case for this. So whatever. We'll see. Take the survey, and then I'll know whether I should pursue this or not. That's it. I'm done. Go away. You're annoying me. But before you go, donate a few bucks to help us a kid at St. Jude's Research Hospital for Kids. I'm so annoyed. This is Kinghuman. At the tone, leave your name and message. I'll get back to you.